for the record, you still serve today as the former president's personal counsel?
Yes, I have been his counsel to the ICC, and last night, as of 9:30, he also retained me for the case filed by Franz Castro.
All right. So the first question is, will the former president be attending the summons?
Let's put it this way. In the ICC, the president has said that he will face any and all of his accusers, but before Philippine courts, Philippine fiscals. And now that there is a pending case before a Philippine fiscal's office, of course, he will face his accusers and he will prove that he did not breach any of our existing laws.
All right. But you mean by this, he will be physically going to the Quezon City Court along with yourself?
That's not a requirement, no? Lawyers can appear, especially in the initial hearing, to receive a copy of the complaint affidavit, and he can have his affidavit sworn to before any public prosecutor, even in Davao City.
Okay. So ang ibig sabihin, let's just state it for the record, he is not going physically himself to the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office. Hindi po yun.
I can't say that because that's his decision. All that I'm saying is that procedurally, he doesn't have to if he doesn't want to, because he can subscribe to his sworn statement, his counter affidavit, before any public prosecutor, including a public prosecutor in Davao, because after all, he is based in Davao City.
Okay. So what would you advise him, Attorney Roque?
Well, we will answer the complaint, no? Because that, in effect, has been the consistent position of the president. He will face the legal process, but only before Filipinos, and he will not allow any foreign judge to sit in judgment of him.
Okay. Attorney Roque, how can the former president justify the words that he had uttered? And I want to read it just for our viewers to remember what he said. He said, this was on live television in SMNI. He said this: but your first target there, using your intelligence funds, is you, France, you communists who I want to kill. I asked her to tell them that, but she refused, saying, you know, Pa, I did that. They might harass the Philippine military training institutions. So this was the president repeating a conversation he had with his daughter, Vice President Duterte. But that statement is, you, France, you communists who I want to kill. How does the president justify this particular statement?
Well, Karen, I'm not at liberty to actually discuss our legal defenses on TV. No? The proper forum for this would be with the fiscal's office as well as in court, if it is in fact filed in court. No? But having said this, perhaps it is appropriate to state that there is an ongoing armed conflict in the Philippines. It has not ceased. It is classified as a non-international armed conflict by the International Committee of the Red Cross, which is the guardian of international humanitarian law, the law applicable in times of armed conflict. So that's all that I'm at liberty to state now, because that's a fact. People at the Communist Party of the Philippines, tagged as a terrorist group, not just in the Philippines, but abroad, are killing their fellow Filipinos, killing poor Filipinos, in fact, exacting illegal taxation and carrying out judgments without proper court trials. No? So let's put it at that, and that's the fact of life. And of course, the president has always maintained that there are legal fronts to the CPP and PA.
Okay, so are you saying that the president saying, France, you who I want to kill, is justifiable under the law?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that as a statement of fact, we have an ongoing armed conflict in the Philippines.
Okay, but I wanted to ask you, because Article 282 of the Revised Penal Code is quite clear that issuing death threats can be prosecuted as grave threats under Philippine law. Would you classify the president's statement as grave threats?
I don't think so, because whenever the military asks the communist terrorist groups to surrender, otherwise they will be decimated, is that grave threat? I don't think so. That's a valid exercise of police power.
No, but we're talking about a former president who is actually in national TV telling a lawmaker, I want to kill you.
Well, people can make that conclusion. But as I said, we are going now to the legal process. And it is the burden of the complainant actually to prove all the elements of the crime, including identifiability of the victim.
But when can you identify something as a death threat or a grave threat? You being a lawyer, if somebody says, Attorney Roque, I will kill you, and says it on TV, that's not a grave threat?
Well, you have to be in a position to carry it out, actually. No? And that's the context by which, in fact, we respect freedom of expression. No? And that is why, unlike other jurisdictions where mere incitement, for instance, to commit genocide is penalized, under our tradition, together with the United States tradition, you cannot penalize mere incitement because there has to be a clear and present danger to the words uttered.
Okay, but since you are quoting, in effect, the United States, under their constitution, death threats and extortion are also not constitutionally protected speech. It doesn't fall under their constitutionally protected speech. So the former president saying, France, you who I want to kill, are you saying that falls under the protected speech in the Philippines?
Well, Karen, there's such a thing as a requirement that for it to be effectively curtailed, there has to be a clear and present danger. So mere utterances themselves should not be criminal. There has to be an ability to carry it out. And I do not know if a 78-year-old former president is in a position to carry that out. Perhaps when he was president, yes. But as a retired president and under the existing political conditions, I do not know if the fiscal can be convinced that there is in fact a clear and present danger emanating from the words uttered by the president.
Okay, Attorney Harry Roque, you are a human rights lawyer. And I wanted to ask you, hasn't the country, frankly, cut the former president enough slack? 6 years of threats, misogynistic comments, insults, and until today, there's a justification for the words that he utters, words that we wouldn't let our children say to another child. And yet we agree that if it's the former president, it's okay because he just speaks that way. Shouldn't the country hold him, frankly, to a higher standard?
I don't know what your question is, no? But the president is an ordinary citizen now, and the Bill of Rights, as well as the UDHR and the ICCPR exist to protect the rights of individuals, including that of former presidents. And of course, in a criminal proceeding, there's the overwhelming presumption of innocence and the burden of the complainant and the prosecution later on to prove his guilt beyond reasonable doubt. And that's part of human rights.